Welcome to Inspire and Move, the show that inspires you to create, connect, and grow. I'm going to bring you meaningful conversations, aha moments, and all the motivation you need to up-level every part of your life. I'm Ali Aruda, founder of Inspire and Move, and your personal hype girl. I've gone from fashion school to celebrity stylist to corporate marketing to brick-and-mortar entrepreneurship with my husband, each time learning incredible lessons how to pivot, reimagine, and implement the steps to become successful. I'm passionate about inspiring others to live their best life, a life of joy. We have the power to design a life that we love, because life is too short not to. The best part is that you weren't meant to do this alone. If you feel like you are meant for more, let me ride shotgun with you, and together, let's get you to where you want to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inspire and Move podcast. And I am so excited to welcome today's special guest, Jess Williamson, to the show. Jess, welcome.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me from across the other side of the world.
Oh my gosh, I know. For context, you guys, Jess looks so beautiful. It's 7 a.m. over there in Perth, Australia, and 7 p.m. here for me in Ontario.
Yeah, it's the wildest time difference, but it's also the best because it's just you swap out the AM, PM, and we're sorted.
Totally. And you look fresh as a daisy. And I have to say also, for additional context, is that Jess has come on my radar thanks to my best friend Rochelle, who is in Sydney. And for any of you that are listening and watching this and you follow me on Instagram, you know that we just surprised her recently for the most iconic surprise in Sydney. And I just have so much gratitude for Rochelle bringing us together.
Yeah. What are the odds? You realize the world is so small, and it's like me. Like, to put things in perspective, I basically live on the West Coast. Rochelle lives all the way on the East Coast. We've been friends for years, but we only met in real life recently because of all the 2020 things that happened. And then she put me in touch with you, and now you and I are going to be hanging out in New York in just a few weeks.
I know. It's so cool. And I think that, people can love and hate on social media, but you have relationships like this and opportunities like this, which I know we're going to dive into, that come because of social media and being visible and being active on it and being so open for the connections and opportunities that can truly come your way and can be called in when you are actively using those tools.
Yeah. It really is love-hate relationship, but I mean all of my best friends have come from Instagram, and now we get to travel the world and hang out in real life, and it is just the best.
I love that so much. Okay, so Jess, for anyone who doesn't know you yet, you've described yourself as like an extreme introvert, yet you have also built successful companies and exited them, as well as being a best-selling author, as well as being a TEDx speaker. And just tell me and tell everyone, like, how did this all start? Because these accolades are incredible.
Yes. Okay. To put things in perspective, I used to absolutely be terrified of eye contact. That is how much I was afraid of being seen. If I was walking down the street and someone looked at me for more than 1 second, I would spiral. Most of the time I was looking at the floor or the sky, but if I caught eye contact, I would think, oh my gosh, why did they look at me? Do I look crazy? Do I have something on my pants? Is there something wrong with me? And I was just absolutely petrified. I was always really shy. Even as a kid, I never used to talk about myself at all. At all. My friends, I knew everything about them, their favorite food, their favorite everything. They knew nothing about me. Because I was like, I just don't want to be visible. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to open up for judgment. I don't want to. And so I always say I probably would have won the world record of being the most shy introvert on the planet. And so now when people come to me and they say, oh, Jess, it's easy for you. You're confident. You can get on stage. You just have this knack. I say, absolutely, I didn't. I started below zero. But I guess for me, my brain has always worked very logically. So when I started my first business when I was 22, I was working in digital marketing and I was building a global swimwear brand. I knew I needed free marketing. And so I thought, how do I get free marketing? Okay, there's a Women in Business event coming up. Let me just ask if I can speak at it because that's free. And so because my brain is so logical, it almost bypassed the fear part. It almost bypassed that because it was like, a means to an end. This is logical. This is free. We're going to do it. And so I said, hey, can I speak at your event? And she said, cool, we've already sorted it out, but I'll give you 5 minutes at the start. to talk about your journey. And then I felt the fear. Then I strapped in because I had said yes, but I still knew I would figure it out. And so, although I was petrified, I had sleepless nights for 4 weeks leading up to this 5 minute segment. I did it and I realized I didn't die. That's really as simple as it is. I didn't die. And now my subconscious had more evidence that, wasn't great, but it also wasn't that bad. And I truly think that's the number one way to rewire your brain is by taking the action that you don't want to do so that you show yourself it actually wasn't that bad. And so I kind of just kept doing that over the past 10 years. And now here we are. It's like one foot in front of the other. Every time you get a bit better at it. And so now I'm out there talking about myself all the time on social media and sharing my journey and my personal brand, which is wild to think.
Well, I love what you said about looking for free marketing. And that's even just thinking of like, how can you get scrappy? And if you were early on in your entrepreneurial venture of starting your swimwear brand, then you had to be smart and think like, all right, I don't have a 10K right now to invest, let alone 100K or more for advertising and marketing dollars, that you're finding what you can get access to for free, which
Yeah.
on that same note is incredible for all of us to look at the world of social media now. Now, I would love your thoughts on this also, because something like Instagram, what an amazing tool that is always changing, but it is a rented platform versus something like a email list, a website, a podcast, your own events where you have ownership of those. What are your thoughts on those?
Yeah. What are my thoughts on everything other than Instagram, or what are my thoughts on Instagram?
Just in terms of the difference between like rented versus owned platforms and
Oh,
being
yeah.
visible on those.
Yeah, honestly, I think you need all of them. I don't think I could say, hey, just get yourself an email database, because then how do you find the people to get them on your email? I am a big, big believer in events right now, especially. I think 2020 changed the game, but now AI and the lack of trust online, events are the only way you can truly build real trust, because online, although you can gain followers, you can go viral overnight, there still is an element of this cannot be real or this may not be real. And so events is the only way you can really prove that you are a real person, one, but two, the energetic connection, the syncing of the nervous systems that happens in real life is something that cannot be replicated. So for me, I've been running events for a long, long time. I ran 20 events in the past 18 months alone. And that's why I'm going all in on my New York event as well, which is going to be iconic on a whole new level. But I truly believe if you think about the power of influence, it used to be held by influencers on Instagram or on
Mhm.
TikTok. Whoever had the most followers got the most dollars from brands. Brands are going to be spending their money in rooms, in the events, because if you think about true influence, brands want people to actually take action, not just get eyeballs, not just go viral and be forgotten about tomorrow. They want action, and that's created in a room where you've got social proof of hundreds of other people taking action. You've got the personal connection. You've got actually people paying attention. They're not on their phone, they're not multitasking. And so I see that brands are going to be spending their money there, but also consumers are going to be spending their money to get in the rooms and spend their money with people that they've connected with in real life. So I truly see that as the future of business in general. Like every business needs to run events, but you do need social media to get people to your events. You need email database to then connect with people after the event so that you're not relying on algorithms. So all of the pieces I do really believe work together so well.
I love that you brought up like how events are such a big part of, this year, future, beyond, because like you, I also love in-person events and I like a nice variety of them. I love a good low ticket event that's really just for connection. I also love what comes from higher ticket investments for those events of what you get out of that experience. And it's been amazing even for my own experience, not only hosting events, but also actively attending them, the relationships that I have called into my life and opportunities. And I think all of that also plays into the visibility piece, which I
Yeah.
know you and I are both really passionate about. just passionate about, period, complete sentence, but
Yeah.
also what we teach and encourage on our social and in our communities, that it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I've been to events where, again, the connections are invaluable. People remember you in person, just even attending. You don't always have to be on the stage. So, yeah, it's a powerful, powerful tool.
So for someone like you, that you host events and you
Hmm.
do them really well, from what I have seen on Instagram and from what Rochelle has told me, as just edifying you and what you have created in the past and what she's attended. But how has being in some of the right rooms or being at some really amazing events, how has that positively impacted the trajectory of you as a personal brand and your business?
Yeah. Honestly, getting in rooms again changes your chemistry, I feel like. And so, anytime I've gone to an event, it's not even always what the people are saying on the stage or what the event is specifically about, but it's being in a frequency and being part of conversations that expand your thinking. And if you get expanded in a way, of course, you're going to take different actions. You're going to have bigger goals. You're going to do the things that maybe once felt scary. And I do think, it's that old saying, you become the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And it doesn't even have to mean you've spoken to every person in that room, but just at a cellular level, we are so hardwired to synchronize, to synchronize in groups to become part of those conversations. So for me, it's expanded the way I think. When I've seen someone else on a stage, I've thought, wow, that's going to be me one day. Or I've attended events and I've thought, wow, I would love to run my own events. This is awesome. And that's been huge, just being in the room. But secondly to that, I do think there is such a huge merit in investing at high levels, in those larger level investments, in getting into those deeper rooms, those masterminds where you either get access to a mentor who's already walked that path, who could shortcut that for you, or getting access to people at a higher level that can open doors for you that were closed otherwise. And honestly, one mastermind that I always think of that I did a few years ago was probably one of the biggest investments I've ever made. And it included a retreat, it was a mastermind, and I met my best friend there. And we see each other every 2 months. And she lives on the other side of Australia and LA, and I live in Perth, and we're both always traveling all the time. She's coming to New York as well. And honestly, I couldn't have ever met her otherwise. So it's not just the friendships, but it's just honestly the access. You've got to buy to get the access. Sometimes you've got to buy to get the shortcut. And sometimes a lot of people are not willing because they're like, but what tangibly am I getting? Am I getting 5 calls? Am I getting 10 meetings? It's not about that at all. Like, I paid 10 grand for a 1 hour call recently, and it just opened up access. It opened up my brain to what
Mhm.
can be.
Oh my God. I love that you said that, because my husband and I talk about this all the time, especially when it comes to being in rooms, that it's the shortcut. It's,
Mm-hmm.
we could take the complicated, challenging routes, and often it could be even more expensive if you make some mistakes along the way. Or you can choose to find someone that you believe in and that you want to be mentored by. And also looking at, like, who does that person attract? Because I
Yeah.
could not agree with you more about buying that access. That the two things that you said that really stuck out, and I just celebrate so much, is like being in the right room and using that as a shortcut, but also buying access. Because I have totally gone to events where I might, look at the keynote speakers and I was like, their message didn't really resonate with me, but they spoke wonderfully. They
Yeah.
presented themselves on stage beautifully, but I actually just wanted access to the room and I wanted the content
Yeah.
from being at this event. And I have done that
Yeah.
before.
100%. And I think that comes back to also building your personal brand. Like you said, the content of you being in that room, it says, this is the kind of person I am. And it's the moves that we make that build our brand. It's not always the shiny photo shoot or the messaging, but it's like those everyday moves on how we lead ourselves that paint the picture on this is who Ali is.
Totally. And I think it's a form of leadership, that these
Mm-hmm.
people aren't necessarily on your team and they're not contributing to your business revenue, but you are leading by example and showing that others can, like, paving the way for others to believe that they can do that too. Even if
Yeah,
they need to start small and, work their way up. I think it's a
100%.
form of leadership.
Yeah.
Now, you might have already answered this question in a way because of where you met your best friend, but I was going to ask you, have you been to an event or in a room that has changed your life?
Yeah, I mean, many. Other than the ones I've already said, I was part of a year-long mentorship, and it was my first ever mentorship. And it was interesting because over that year, I didn't gain any business growth. And the problem is, most people would look at that and say, waste of $50,000 because it was not cheap, waste of time, waste of money. They would have tried to get out. What I did gain from that was confidence, was someone pushing and challenging me internally to get outside my comfort zone. That piece of confidence that I gained from that mastermind is worth millions to me. And that is massive because, again, it's my mindset, it's my perception of how I see the investment that allows me to see the ROI. Whereas a lot of other people would have said it was a waste of money and time. But that confidence has made me millions of dollars and is why I'm now able to go to New York from the other side of the entire world and decide that I am going to pull off this event that, to be honest, a lot of Americans have never even dreamt of doing or have never actually executed on. So that in itself is massive. And I would say it's not, again, it's not always the things that people say or the tangible, it's who you become in the process. So that honestly changed my life.
I love that because Matt and I have the same perspective when we go to events, especially as brick and mortar business owners, that
Yeah.
I look at some of our peers that will go to masterminds and they are crushing it in terms of getting business, whether it's, they own a podcast agency, social media, team operations, AI, like so many incredible people with what they do. And it's a great spot for them to attract new business. And I believe in those mastermind rooms, people really like working with each other and that law of reciprocity, like I'm going to pour into you and then you're going to pour back into me. But for Matt and I, we have this brick and mortar business in Burlington, Ontario, Canada. No one that lives in the United States is coming to get a gym membership and do personal training at our gym.
Yeah.
But it's having that mindset that no, we are here for a greater purpose. And what we are gaining out of this is not business that is so easy to see in terms of transactional gym memberships and personal training. It is the access, it's the opportunities that this is going to call in. And I love what you said about confidence because there's a part of me that also goes in there and it was like, I need to stretch my like CEO muscle and be the
Yeah.
CEO energy of our company.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay,
powerful.
so I am so excited to dive into New York because, well, I'm just so freaking pumped to be a part of this event. I'm excited. I'm grateful. I can't wait to see you in action with what you do and create. So, for everyone, even just right now, they're like, okay, cool, what's happening in New York? Tell us what is happening on May 21st in New York.
Yes. Okay. May 21st, we are going to be filling the room with 200 incredible female founders. Particularly, I want the women who are ready to go big because we are running a $1 million personal brand workshop. And what I found with going to a lot of events globally is oftentimes you leave making some new friends or you leave inspired. But I'm like, no, I want to talk about how much money are you actually making? How did you get those dollars in your bank account? How do we actually do it? So I'm really creating the day around bringing the women who are the best at what they do, which is why we've got you in the room as well on the stage, but bringing the best of across not just the US, but Australia, Canada. We're bringing the best into this stage and we're asking them how they actually did it. So everyone is going to walk away having actually taken action. And I'm even going to be doing hot seat coaching for people because I find the biggest block for people in business in going to these kind of events is sounds interesting, but I have a mindset block, or but how does that apply to me? And so we're just going to be doing it right there in the room, making the moves, making the pitches, getting really uncomfortable. So I'm super, super excited. And it's going to be such a beautiful day. We have the best women. And then we finish it off with, for the VIPs, we're doing the VIP dinner and mostly all the speakers are coming. So that is probably going to be the most insane access to a room that you've probably ever experienced. And so that's going to be really, really fun as well.
And you had shared with me that that's a really intimate room for those that choose to go
Yeah.
the VIP route.
Yes. So I think we're capping at around 40 people. So the VIP dinner, you're going to be able to meet everyone pretty much in that room. And the way I run dinners, I hate going to dinners and then you get to talk to the two people next to you, which is great because they're all going to be amazing. But you're like, but what about the other 40 amazing people? So we're really curating it where we're not going to be sitting for long. We're not going to be sitting down for long. And we're going to have really powerful ways to just connect and network and really meet the right people in that room as well.
I love that. And I think that's I think it's an incredible value actually for what it is. And we're going to have everything in the show notes for people to grab tickets, whether you want, full day or you want full VIP, which I think everyone should get VIP, or
Yes.
40 of you. But talking through like who this event is for, you said it was for founders. Do you find that you are calling in a lot of women in business that are service based? Are
Yeah.
there some corporate girlies in there? Are there product based businesses? Who is that girl that is coming to the event?
Yeah, I think the beauty of running a personal brand is that you can be all of these things now. And I think for a long time, people said, you can't run a business if you're in corporate. But really, if that is part of your personal brand, there is a huge opportunity there. But mostly, I would say the room is going to be really powerful for those people who already have a personal brand. And I'm not just talking content creators, because this is going to go way beyond that, where you have a whole business vehicle behind it, beyond brand deals. But we will be talking about brand deals as well. But that might look like service providers, agency owners, even just coaches, mentors, people who are thought leaders in their industry. It's going to be really, really powerful for them. And it is still going to be relevant for product based business owners, but we're not speaking to how to grow an e-commerce business per se, because what I found again is a lot of these founder led events are really created for content creators and products because it's sexy. It's like VC. Let's get some investors on board. Let's post on Instagram and let's build a product, which is great. And we will have some amazing speakers on stage who speak to that. But I think there's a gap missing where it's like, but what if you don't want investors? What if you want to build a multi-million-dollar business for just being you? For your expertise, for your knowledge, for your thought leadership. And so that's what we're going to be bringing to the room. So for anyone who is in that space, this is probably, I haven't found a room that really targets this in this way and brings together this caliber of speakers as well.
Okay, so if you were speaking to old Jess, introvert Jess that was fearful of eye contact, and you were speaking to her and someone that's maybe on the fence was like, I feel like I should go to this event, but I am scared shitless because I don't like eye contact, what would you say to her?
One of the best things you'll ever do is go to an event by yourself. I actually am like, friends, you can come, but I went last year to the Korean Cultivate Festival, went with 3 of my best friends from Australia. And once we entered the gates, we're like, see you later. And so we all dispersed because I'm like, you're going to stay in your comfort zone, bring your friends because they need to experience it too. But the best thing I ever did was go to an event when I was by myself because yes, I was awkward. Yes, I maybe said the wrong thing. And yes, I was embarrassed at times. Or yes, I felt, shy. But every single time it got me out of my comfort zone. And again, if you're wanting to build a personal brand and you're wanting to build anything really big, that is probably, I would say, the number one skill we need is a little bit of self-confidence, a little bit of audacity to enter the rooms, even when we're afraid. Because when you're afraid of things, that just means you're meeting your edge of your comfort zone and we get to expand that. And that's where growth happens. But from a tactical lens, it is going to be so welcoming. Honestly, there's going to be a lot of Australians and Canadians and all the women in the room. And we get the reputation the friendliest people in the world. Yeah. So I would say that can help.
I did feel that a lot when we were in Australia. I was like, this feels like an energetic match between like the Aussies and the Canadians. Yes. I think that is so wonderful. And I have been that girl that has gone to events by herself. And I'm a keener. Like I want a front row seat. I'm also happy to take row 2, preferably on the end, because I like to have it for content and being able to capture things.
Yes.
And I actually would identify as like an extroverted introvert, and that's come more throughout entrepreneurship and
Mm.
being in the business of community, that I build
Yeah.
community in our brick and mortar gym. I build community through my events. So I think that introvert part of me has actually developed in the last few years, almost as like a recovery mechanism, and
Yeah.
just sort of having that replenishment for my energy levels. But I am not afraid to go to an event by myself. And I love that you said that, because I think that is such a great opportunity to flex that growth muscle.
100%. Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, it would mean so much to me if you took a few seconds and shared this on social media, sent it to a friend, or left a 5-star review. There is power in community, and I'm so grateful to have you part of mine.